Shalom, everyone. Okay, we're going to learn today something for לכבוד ל"ג בעומר. ל"ג בעומר is a very strange day in the calendar, in the Jewish calendar. On one hand, there are very little halachot or anything like that. What's exactly happening l"ג בעומר? What are we celebrating? We've got, on one hand, the minhagim of mourning, of avelut, that we stop doing on ל"ג בעומר. Halachically, the only thing that happens on ל"ג בעומר is that you don't say tachanun. And the minhagi avelut stop according to some minhagim they continue, it's just a day of pause. Then there's a minhag of the bonfires, there's a playing with bows and arrows. All of these minhagim take us in different aspects to the period of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Bar Kokhba revolution. We'll try and see a little bit about, mainly through learning a little bit about Rabbi Akiva, because the mourning that we mourn during Sfirat Omer is for the students of Rabbi Akiva, 24,000 students that died in a plague or otherwise during these days. And through learning a little bit about Rabbi Akiva, we'll try and understand a little bit about ל"ג בעומר and what it's all about. The source we'll be learning is a letter that Rav Kook wrote to a convention of Bnei Akiva, in which he outlines three main points in Rabbi Akiva's personality, or I don't know exactly the exact word to say, but three main things we need to pay attention to when we learning about Rabbi Akiva. Let's start, let's see what it's all about. Okay, this is in a book called Ma'amrei Re'iyah. Okay, Ma'amrei Re'iyah. Sorry, like this. Okay, page 202. Anyone who's got the book, perfect. If you don't have, I'll try read clearly and translate. Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is from Yud Aleph in Nisan Tafresh Tzadik Daled, meaning just before Pesach of 1934. Okay, that's just to get the time when we're speaking about. Okay, Yekirei Levavi Bnei Akiva, my dearest Bnei Akiva. Okay, Oz lachem b'yifat neshama mimkor Israel. You should have a lot of might and a strong neshama from the source of Israel. Okay, there's a first paragraph here, which the topic of the first paragraph is basically telling Bnei Akiva that you need to be aware of the fact that we speak in a very special time in Jewish history, and in this special time in Jewish history of reawakening of the Jewish people and beginning of the redemption and coming back to Eretz Israel, he hopes that Bnei Akiva will be able to take these things from Rabbi Akiva and do their job properly, because this is what these are three very special things that in these days, in this day and age, in this generation that started off in those days, and clearly also in today's day and age, we still need to be, as much as we manage to be connected to these things, we'll be able to do our job properly. And he writes like this: Rabbi Akiva. Okay, skip to the second paragraph here. Okay, Rabbi Akiva, Oran shel Israel. Rabbi Akiva, the light of Israel. Asher bishmo atem nikraim, that Bnei Akiva is named after him. Bivchinat igudchem, your organization. היונה מכוונים לשלושת הסימנים המציינים לנו לדורות את קדושתו העליונה. Be focused, directed in the three attributes, three signs that for generations they tell us what his very special level of kedusha is. It's a very high level of kedusha is. Let's see, these are, ראשית, the first one, אהבת התורה עד לכדי מסירות נפש של סבל בלתי גבולי. Rabbi Akiva's love for Torah until a level that he was willing to have a level of self-sacrifice and mesirut nefesh to a level that he suffered without, beyond any limit. הדעה היסודית, the basic thought, ששם החיים של האומה ומכון גאולתה, אין לו תוכן אחר כי אם זאת התורה, שהיא חיינו ואורך ימינו. The understanding that what keeps our nation going and what's going to give us the redemption is only the Torah. This is a very basic thing about Rabbi Akiva. Famous story about Rabbi Akiva on the Mishnah that explains to us the wording of Kriyat Shema in Masechet Brachot, the 9th chapter of Masechet Brachot, and the Mishnah explains what are the words after we say Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. What are the words? B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. It says b'chol levavcha b'shnei tzarecha, yetzer tov yetzer ra, u'b'chol nafshecha afilu notel et nafshecha. Even if your neshama has been taken, your nefesh has been taken from you, even if this means you're going to be dying. So on this, when the Gemara discusses this, it brings the story of Rabbi Akiva. That Rabbi Akiva, in the days of Rabbi Akiva, there was a person by the name of that Rabbi Akiva, when the Romans said not allowed to teach Torah, Rabbi Akiva went out and he was teaching Torah out in the public. And a person by the name of Papus ben Yehuda sees Rabbi Akiva and tells him, Rabbi Akiva, what are you doing? You can't do this. The Romans now they're in power. Let's keep quiet. Let's stick to the side. Put the Torah at the side for a moment. Let the Romans do what they do. The Romans will disappear. Then we'll go back to learning Torah. Rabbi Akiva says, no. Need to learn Torah. It tells Papus, I'll tell you a story. It's like the fox walking on the riverbank, seeing the fish running away from the fisherman. He tells them, listen, fish, why are you running away? They tell him, what do you mean why are you running away? The fisherman's trying to fish. He says, listen, come up to the land, live together with me the way your ancestors and my ancestors used to live together, and we'll have a good, peaceful life over here. The fish tell him, what, you're a wise animal. What if here in the water where this is what gives us life, this is the way we live, we're afraid if we leave the water, what will the situation be? Okay, clearly the amazing unity the fox is speaking about is when he eats them up and the fish will become part of the fox, but that's something else. So Rabbi Akiva tells Papus, that's what you're telling me. So the Gemara continues to say, Lo yomim mu'atim. A few days later, the Romans came, they took Rabbi Akiva and threw him into jail. They throw Rabbi Akiva into jail, and a few days later, also Papus ben Yehuda is thrown into jail. Rabbi Akiva tells Papus, what are you doing here? What happened? How did you land up here with me? Papus doesn't want to exactly answer the answer. He says, Ashrecha Rabbi Akiva שנתפסת על דברי תורה, אוי לו לפפוס שנתפס על בתים בטלים. He says, Rabbi Akiva, you lucky, you're in here for a good reason. You were teaching Torah. Me, what am I in here for? Dvarim betelim, for no stupid things, don't ask. Rabbi Akiva tells him, listen, we live according to Torah. Our life is Torah. Everything in our life is Torah. Okay, BaOmer is in the middle of the days of Sfirat Omer. Sfirat Omer connects Yetziat Mitzrayim to Matan Torah with a very basic statement. God created the Jewish people in Egypt so that we can go and receive the Torah. If we don't go and receive the Torah, there's no point in being the Jewish nation. That's what it's all about Torah. If you take the Torah away, then there's no Jewish nation. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, Rabbi Akiva is very strong about that. And eventually, when the Romans execute him, the Gemara goes on to say that it's time of Kriyat Shema, and he's saying, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. His students ask him, what even now when this is happening? And Rabbi Akiva answers them and says, yes, my whole life I've been waiting for this term. When will I be able to say B'chol nafshecha properly? And now finally I can really do it when he's actually taking my nefesh away. There's a story about that, about Rabbi Yosef Karo, that he was kind of sorry, he never reached that. God never gave him that opportunity. But that's the great sages. They really want to be in that situation. Rabbi Akiva is in that situation. Yatsa nishmato be'echad. Okay, when he finishes, that's when he passes away. The angels say, Ma, zot Torah v'zot schara, is this the way Shem? And God says, Chilkam b'chaim. This is Rabbi Akiva's. What he gives to the world is so great that he had to bring this. If he wouldn't have passed away this way, if he wouldn't have been executed this way, we wouldn't have learned from him this amazing devotion and dedication for Torah, for Am Yisrael. So that's the first thing about Rabbi Akiva. Ahavat Torah ad lichdei mesirut nefesh shel sevel bilti gvulei. He loves the Torah to a level that he's prepared to go through such torturing, and even when he's been executed, that's all he cares about is saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and teaching Torah to his students standing around him while it's happening. That's the first thing about Rabbi Akiva. First thing, okay, that's the beginning, is the dedication for Torah. If there's no dedication to Torah, we'll end up like Papus Ben Yehuda. We'll all the three be thrown into jail at the end, but for something else. Okay, that's the first thing. We can't start doing anything. Rav Kook's telling Bnei Akiva here, if there's no dedication for Torah, if it's not clear that Torah is before everything, and that's what's going to also bring to the redemption afterwards, then you don't understand what we're speaking about. That's the first point. Second point, Hashanit. Ha-hachlala. Hachlala, including everything. It's not a good translation, but that's the best I can think of. Okay, what does this mean? Rav Kook goes on, he quotes the Gemara, Kulhu stimta aliba de Rabbi Akiva. פלגים רבים הולכים וזורמים, מתניתין, תוספתא, ספרי, ספרא וכולי, אבל הכל בא מתוך אותו הים הגדול, תורתו הכוללת של רבי עקיבא. Okay, that's in Sanhedrin, דף פ"ו. Over there, there's a debate in the Gemara, exactly who said something, and then the Gemara says, it doesn't matter, everything is according to Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva, after the 24,000 students died, he goes and he takes 5 students down in the south, and he teaches them the Torah. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi, can't remember the 4th name right now. And everything that we have in the Torah, Sifri, Safra, Matni, Mishnayot, everything, the basic opinions are these students of Rabbi Akiva, and if it doesn't say an opinion, Kulu stimta aliba de Rabbi Akiva. Any Mishnah that doesn't have an opinion in it, it's a student of Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva, the whole of the Torah Sheba'al Peh that we have is his. He sees, he's got a broad approach. He doesn't only learn one part of it. He wasn't an expert in a certain area. He was one of the few people that really had a broad enough approach that could include everything in, see everything together. That's what also, because of that amazing approach of his to life, even when he sees bad things in the world, when he sees a fox going out of where Kodesh HaKodashim was, he laughs, he doesn't cry. His friends ask him, why are you laughing? He says, what do you mean, why am I laughing? Why are you crying? Kind of clear, we're crying because we just saw a fox coming out of Kodesh HaKodashim. Akiva says, yes, but if I see that happening, so I know this is a prophecy of the destruction, then clearly we'll also have the prophecies of the redemption, so I'm already laughing for that. That's part of that broad approach that sees everything together, knows how to see things in proportion, because it sees everything together, doesn't only focus on one aspect of things, and then it would be limited to a certain approach, a certain direction in things. No, from the dedication to Torah, the total love and dedication to Torah, sees the whole Torah all together, Torah shebichtav, Torah shebe'al peh, all the different aspects of Torah shebe'al peh. The halacha, the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Zohar, the Nistar, everything is included in Rabbi Akiva's Torah, and everything gets its right proportion. Being able to include everything and not only focus on one thing is the difference between seeing a giant. When you see a giant, everything's big in his body, everything's big, everything's impressive, compared to seeing someone that has got a big ear, or a big hand, or a big leg, or a big nose, or a big head, and then it's out of proportion, it's unbalanced. Okay, that's the situation of someone who's focused on one area, and that's what he sees, and everything he sees from that approach. So Rabbi Akiva has also got the hachlala. Okay, Rav Kook continues on, you're speaking about this topic, says that Torah, Torat Chayenu, the Torah of our life, that Rabbi Akiva was dedicated to, Kol Plagea, all of its different streams, Hamitgalim Baruach, okay, that appear in the spirit, Vekol HaPlagim Mitgalim B'chayei HaUmah, and all of the appearances of it in the life, because the Torah appears in the learning of the Torah, in the spirit of the Torah, and in the way Jewish history is led. Okay, that's what we said. Also, when he saw the historical events, he was also be able to see them in context of the full Jewish life. ממנה הם זורמים, ולאחדם עם מקורם הברוך לנצח אנו נדרשים. And we need to be able to connect every aspect to see where is it coming from, what's it about. Okay, that's Rabbi Akiva's approach to the world. That's how we can see whatever's happening, see what it belongs to, how to understand these different current events, what's happening here. Rav Kook ends here, giving us also a little bit of a direction of how to see that. Nevarech b'Torah tchila. ונמצא את הארץ אשר עבדה לנו על אשר לא ברכו בתורה תחילה. He says we will say a blessing before we learn Torah, and that way we'll find the land that we lost because we didn't bless in the Torah. Jews didn't say the bracha before they learned the Torah. That's based on a Gemara in Baba Metzia, Daf Pei. Over there, the Gemara asks, Al-Mav da Aretz, why did we lose the land? Why were we exiled? And the Gemara says, oh, we were exiled because we didn't say a blessing before learning the Torah. Now, that sounds a little bit extreme. There are a lot of sins, a lot of bad sins Am Israel did, but you could be sent to exile for not saying the bracha before learning Torah. That's a little bit hard to understand. Rav Tzvi Yehuda Kook explains this in a few places. Also, we see here that Rav Kook is also indicating to this. That what bracha do we say, that there's a machloket in the Gemara, what bracha we should say before we learn Torah. 3 options. Eventually in the morning before we, in Birkot HaTorah, we say all 3 options. But the main bracha that we say before learning Torah is Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu HaTorah, that He chose us from all of the nations and gave us the Torah. That's the historical sequence. First, God created Am Israel. When we say that God chose, it's not that He went in, He saw a lot of nations and chose one out of them. God's choice is a creation. God created us as a nation that is suitable for Torah. And once He created us as a nation that is suitable for Torah, He gave us the Torah. And that from there we see that the Torah is not just, Torah and dedication for it, but the Torah is the Torah of the nation. The nation should be living according to Torah. The nation should be acting according to Torah. The Torah tells us how the nation should act. It's not something for individuals. It's not something that, I've got my Torah, now how to act, now how to wake up, now how to wash my hands, say tefillah, say brachot, learn Torah, I've got my kashrut, my Shabbat, my purity of the family, all the different halachot. That's not enough. It has to be a nation. That's the first thing God tells Avraham Avinu. Lech lecha me'artzecha u'molatcha be'et avicha. Leave your country, your home, where you came from. V'lech lecha el ha'aretz asher areka. Go to the land I'll show you. What for? Ve'escha sham legoy gadol. And there you will turn into a great nation. What is a great nation? Okay, that we know from Sefer Dvarim. Umi goy gadol. Asher lo Elokim krovim elav b'kol koreinu alav. The power of prayer, connection to God we have through prayer. Umi goy gadol. Asher lo chukim mishpatim tzadikim. A nation that has the Torah. What makes us a great nation is the Torah. But the Torah is got to do with the nation. It's not for individuals. Avraham Avinu did not receive the Torah. He knew the Torah, he felt the Torah, he could know what to do according to the Torah, but he didn't receive the Torah. Neither did Yitzchak or Yaakov, even Moshe Rabbeinu, who gets the Torah. It's only because there is delivering it to Am Israel. And that's why at Mamad Har Sinai it says, Hayom hazeh niyeta le'am. Today you've become a nation. Okay, that's what it's about. Okay, we mentioned that. That's Sfirat HaOmer, is about that process of moving from Pesach to Shavuot, the creation of the basic physical side of the nation, Sher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, and 50 days later, V'natan Lanu Et Torato. That's why it says in Matan Torah, Hayom hazeh niyeta le'am. Okay, so that's the second aspect of it. So we said first thing is dedication to the Torah. Second thing is seeing everything in a very inclusive and in a point of view that sees everything together, all of the different aspects of Torah, not only certain aspects of it. And now we're going on to the third one, Vashlishit. Okay, these 2 aspects we also find in other Talmidei Chachamim. There were other Talmidei Chachamim with Mesirut Nefesh for Torah. Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion is also executed for it. All of Aseret Harugei Malchut and many other Jews throughout history died Mesirut Nefesh for Torah. Also the Hachlala, also having a very broad approach that includes everything inside. There are not many, but there are rabbis who reach that level where they really know the whole Torah. They've learned the whole Torah, all aspects of the Torah. Babli, Yerushalmi, Rambam, Zohar, Halachot, Midrashim, everything. It's few, but there are people like that throughout history. The third point here, he says, Shlishiti midat Rabbi Akiva miyuchada. The third one is something very unique for Rabbi Akiva. The third point that Rav Kook is pointing out here for Bnei Akiva. Shehi mit'oreret achshav bezman tzmichat ha'yeshua. This is a point that is, once again, in the nation. Rabbi Akiva had it already in those days then, in the days of the end of Second Temple, destruction, Mered Bar Kochva, Rabbi Akiva has already had that point of view. Now in modern history, this is awakening again in the whole of Am Yisrael. Liyot lanu leor olam. Okay, this aspect is going to be a light for us, a big light for us. What is this aspect? התלהבות ומסירות לחזק כל חזון של גאולה ותחייה לישראל בארצו. Okay, enthusiasm, התלהבות ומסירות, מסירות נפש, לחזק, to strengthen, כל חזון של גאולה, any vision of redemption and reawakening to לישראל וארצו, for עם ישראל and its nation. Rabbi Akiva features in the Yerushalmi, features in Midrashim, the Rambam paskins that way. Rabbi Akiva saw Bar Kochva as an option of being Mashiach. It says that Rabbi Akiva, when he saw Bar Kochva, he said, Haynu Malka Mashiach. And only one person, not Rabbi Yochanan ben Torta, he says, Akiva ya'alu asabim b'lechayecha ve'en ben David ba. He says, no, it's no, but the Rambam, many years later, says, Dimahu ve'kol chachmei doro, that Rabbi Akiva and all of the sages agreed with him that Bar Kochva is an option, is like the Mashiach, is similar to the Mashiach. Eventually Bar Kochva failed, and it's clear that he's not the Mashiach. But Rabbi Akiva, what the Rambam is telling us, Rabbi Akiva thought there's an option here. And because of that, the Rambam says, Rabbi Akiva היה נושא כליו של בר כוכבא. What does it mean, נושא כלים? So in the military term of נושא כלים means someone who's carrying the swords and weapons and bows and arrows and everything for the soldier. What they'd call in today's army the Mispar Stein. Okay, the guy who helps the guy with the guy's got a big machine gun, someone else is carrying extra equipment for him. But there's another concept of Nosei Kelim. We've got a Nosei Kelim in Jewish literature, we've got Nosei Kelim. We've got a book, the Tur, the Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch, and you've got Nosei Kelim, all the commentary all around. Rabbi Akiva was the one who explained the ideology of the revolution. The Bar Kochva revolution, 52 years after the destruction of Beit Sheni, starts a revolution, and people don't know, is this good, is it bad, what should we do, should we fight the Romans, not fight the Romans, where should we go? And Rabbi Akiva says, yeah, there's an option here, this can turn into Mashiach, we need to go, all join, let's all go in, join what's going on around here. This explains a few strange stories in the Shas. There's a very famous story about Rabbi Akiva that kids are taught all over the place, that Rabbi Akiva was walking, and it came night, and he's with his students, and he wants to go into a city, and the people of the city tell him, no, you can't come in here. So he says, okay, we'll sleep outside in the field. And he's got with him, he's got a candle, he's got a rooster, and he's got a donkey, and the wind comes and blows out the candle, a cat comes and eats the rooster, and a lion comes and eats the donkey, and Rabbi Akiva says, Kol man David Rachman aletav avid. Everything that God does is good. And he wakes up in the morning and they discover that someone came and raided the city, and Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Akiva was saved. Wow, amazing story of Rabbi Akiva. That's a very strange story. Can you imagine Rabbi Akiva coming, knocking on the city gates, saying, can you let me in? And the people say, no, you can't come in. What do you mean? It's Rabbi Akiva. How do you say no? You might feel awkward about him. You might disagree with him. Don't say no to someone like Rabbi Akiva. But if we understand that this is Mered Bar Kochva, the days of Mered Bar Kochva, and Rabbi Akiva is very related to the rebellion. That's part of what we read in the Agadah, that all of the sages come to him and they need someone to come and tell them that the dawn has arrived because they can't be exposed. They hide in somewhere. So the people of the city tell Rabbi Akiva, you can't come in. Why can't you come in? Because you're a symbol of the revolution. There's a wanted sign all over the place. The Romans are searching for you. So either because they didn't want to be associated with the revolution, or because they were associated and they knew it's too dangerous for Rabbi Akiva. They said, no, it's better for you to sleep outside here. We're in danger, and the danger happens. The Romans come. Who are they looking for? People that are related to the revolution. And Rabbi Akiva, at his old age, okay, it's his last years, he's already, eventually when he's executed, he's 120 years old. So we're speaking here, he's over 100 years old. And he's still sleeping outside in the fields and he's with the soldiers, and he's with Bar Kokhba, and he's taking part in everything. Why? Because there's an option here of redemption, and if there's an option of redemption, I'm going forward and I will keep it going. Okay, that's Rabbi Akiva. And Rav Kook is telling Bnei Akiva, notice every time there's something that you can do for Am Yisrael, for Eretz Yisrael, for the redemption of Am Yisrael, you need to do it. You have to have total dedication for it, like Rabbi Akiva had total dedication for it. Rav Kook finishes off here and says, ודווקא מפני שהחזון בשעתו נכשל. And because in the days of Rabbi Akiva, this failed, ובר כוכבא נפל, ועמו נפל ישראל בבחינת חירותו הלאומית. It was a failure. People who didn't follow that way could come and say now, listen, we told you, you shouldn't do that. Look what happened. Why does the Rambam paskin like it 1,000 years later? Why does Rav Kook come and say, no, this is the way you should follow? Today, Rav Kook says, because it failed then, בטוחים אנו, we sure, כי תורת אמת אשר בפה קדוש יבוא תור לה. We know that if Rabbi Akiva said something, that's Torah. And days will come where that's what's going to work also practically. Also practically it's going to work. והתור הזה הולך ובא. And those days are coming. The days where through the dedication for Am Yisrael and the redemption, we will finally receive again our independence. Unlike Mered Bar Kokhba, that they had independence only for 3 years, we'll establish an independent state and slowly move forward and bring it to Binyan Bet HaMikdash and Mashiach and everything. We're on the way, but in order for that to happen, we have to be dedicated to that. And we have to be aware and see every time there's an option. We can promote something, we have to promote it. That's true. God can do anything he wants on his own, but we need to be there to do whatever we can do, whatever our share is, we need to do it. ולא תקום פעמיים צרה, it won't happen twice, it will fail, ולא לחינם לחם ישראל מלחמת קיומו, וניצחונו הדור האחרון ועד בכלל. And there's a reason that Am Yisrael survived all of these years and fought through everything, and eventually it's going to happen. So this is Rav Kook's letter to Bnei Akiva, which gives us another light on Lag BaOmer, and we understand that Lag BaOmer, the death of the students of Rabbi Akiva, is in many ways related to the failure of the revolution, because if 24,000 students die in a short period of time, and these are students of someone who says you should support the revolution, so that probably has a very bad side effect on the revolution and helps the Romans bring the revolution to an end. It's got to do with the minhag of playing with bows and arrows, of remembering that once again we will have a Jewish fighting force. Nowadays, less people play with bows and arrows. Instead of that, we have Merkava and Tavor and all kinds of other things like that Jewish youths play around with. So we're reaching those days. Bezrat Hashem, we'll all be zocher lirot geula shlema b'mera b'yameinu. Kol tuv.